If we talk about Russian disinformation, it's, first of all, Russian government is sponsoring it. And it's a huge system in terms of financing, but also Russian oligarchs are doing part of these disinformation activities as their kind of pro bono contribution to Russian system. And so if we know how the system of financing is organized, that would give us the idea how to fight it more effectively. For example, when sanctions were introduced against RT in France and in Germany, it took 1 year actually in both cases to stop them functioning, but they disappeared as important players. You know, so from this point of view, we can say that sanctions are effective. It takes time to disrupt the financial system, but at the end of the day, we've seen that they, both German and French RT, ran out of money. They couldn't finance their operations outside of Russia in the European Union, and so that was kind of effective disruption of this financing. But of course there are downsides, because, for example, if Russian disinformation is sanctioned in the EU, that means that all other countries outside of EU are not following the suit and they are not sanctioning that. And this is a problem, because now we see, for example, that Russia moved all their Spanish language operations to Latin America, and from there they can get back to Spain, for example, and that's how the system is organized. So what I'm trying to say is that they are very adaptive, they are very flexible, they try to find the new ways to be around. The code which was introduced by European Union is very, very important, because basically that brings all the platforms to the kind of common denominator in terms of their policies towards disinformation. So unfortunately it was adopted too late, and Ukraine was advocating to adopt something similar at much earlier stage, but those arguments were not kind of received well, because people were saying we cannot sanction anything because it's against freedom of speech. So we've been explaining that it's not about freedom of speech, but actually disinformation is against freedom of speech. So it's an instrument to ruin freedom of speech. So if we would limit disinformation effectively, we would promote freedom of speech. And now we see that almost all social media companies are effectively participating in this to different extent of effectiveness. But on the other hand, we see, for example, Twitter withdrawn from this code, and we see how things are changing very quickly when Twitter becomes a main platform for promoting Russian disinformation content.